I know what you're thinking. It takes a far too confident, very preppy man with very little self-awareness to wear a pink pastel shirt in a video. And I am that man. My name's Nick Wealthall for TransformMyPoker.com, and we're going to talk about executing in big pots and winning more than your fair share of big pots. Now, big pots are when things matter, right? The stakes are raised, literally. I think that's where that comes from. And whether you play well or badly, whether you win or lose a big pot, is not going to just define that hand. It's going to define your session, your tournament, and your profit or loss number at the end of the month and the year. This is an area where there is a massive difference between professional players and players that struggle with their results or don't get the kind of progression that they want. And what we want to do is close that gap. See, professional players execute, right? That's one of the biggest differences. You may be surprised that they don't actually know that much more than you. They've got a few more plays, a bit more knowledge, whatever. But the biggest difference is that they can execute under pressure, right? They actually play their best in big pots because they focus and have a completely clear mind. Now, for normal humans who haven't gone through the steps I'm about to give you, the opposite happens. It's a very natural reaction. I'm sure you can relate to this. You kind of panic in your head, right? The stakes get raised, it's exciting or it's scary. You could lose your whole tournament, you could lose lots of chips, and you get a flood of emotion. That's a very natural reaction. It's supposed to happen, right? It protected us in the wild. But in poker, that's no good because we need to be clear thinking and analytical. So how can we do that, right? How can we get a professional's attitude to playing in big pots? Well, there's a 4-step process I'm going to take you through. So you're in a big pot, the river comes down, your opponent sets you all in, do you call or not? Go through this 4-step process. Step number 1 is think to yourself the word stop, right? Or break, some similar word that makes you kind of step back mentally, take a pause and realize that you're going to have to make a good decision now. So we're going to have to give it some clarity and some focus. Step number 2 is to breathe. What happens when you're faced with a big conflict or a big problem or pressure in life is that you will tense up. You'll physically tense up and you'll stop breathing and you'll breathe very shallowly. Right, that's where panic attacks come from. If you can breathe deeply, you'll relax your shoulders, you'll get more air to your brain, you'll be in a much calmer space, right? Incredibly important. So stop, break, and take deep breaths. Now, here's the big one. Number 3 is the third person technique, trademark. I've trademarked it in poker. I haven't trademarked it. I actually stole it from neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. The third person technique is exactly what it says on the tin. It's removing yourself to a third person position mentally and thinking about the hand without your own emotion involved. Because the problem when you're in a big pot is you're overwhelmed with emotion and it's all subjective. It's all about you, right? It's about whether you lose money, whether you bust the tournament. That's no good to our thinking process. So what we want to do is remove ourselves from it. There's a couple of ways you can do this, right? Have you ever noticed that poker is easier to play when you're on the rail or when you're watching TV, right? Much easier. You always know what the guy's got, right? Not just because the cards are on the screen, because you can actually work it out, because you've got no emotion. There's no pressure. So you want to put yourself in that position mentally. So actually think about looking at the hand from the side if you're playing live, from the rail or from TV. Another way to get the same result is to view the hand as if you're watching it in a replay, you know, the online replayers or the poker software replayers, and just see the hand in terms of the cards with the, you know, the flop coming down and then the turn and the river. Take yourself out of it, see it as player A and player B, and then go through the hand in your head. Do whatever works for you, but find a way to detach yourself from this hand and the emotion in this hand, and you'll find yourself able to think much more clearly. Step number 4, the final step, this is a big one, back your judgment, back your judgment. Once you've gone through that clear thinking analysis, you must do whatever you have decided is the best play, right? Even if it's a big bluff or a scary cool down or a hero fold, you must back your judgment. It's the only way to improve in poker. And it's kind of tough at the start because all of the emotion will make you try and do the easy thing, right? You'll try and take the comfort, the flight route, an easy fold, or just putting your chips in if you've got a hand without thinking about it, whatever it is. but we want to make the right decision. And the only way you can get better at making the right decision is to back your judgment at all times. So if you take one thing away from this video, commit to always backing your judgment at the table. Then analyze it later, and you will make mistakes. Everyone does, but the only way to improve is to think clearly in big pots and then back your judgment, even if it's a scary outcome, right? Like a big bluff or whatever. You've got to back your judgment in those spots. So stop or break, breathe deeply and relax, use the third person technique to view the hand not involving you, and then back your judgment. That's how you can execute better in big pots and have the execution level of a professional player. All right, I hope you've enjoyed this video despite the pink shirt. If you have and you'd like more, subscribe to this YouTube channel on screen now or underneath the video. And if you're ready to take things to the next level and you want some more advanced poker instruction, head over to transformmypoker.com. Transformmypoker.com, you can enter your email over there and I will send you a series of free training videos that will really kick your game up a gear. Hope you've enjoyed watching. I'll talk to you again the next time you press the play button.